I was going to go easy on you, not to hurt your feelings.
You f***ing irritate the shit out of me!
I'm only going to get this one chance. It's just a feeling I've got. Like something's about to happen, but I don't know what.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something.
Hey, what's going on, peeps? Here we are again. Welcome to Gap Sell Keenan number 30. Listen, if you're a salesperson, sales leader, and you want to learn how to sell or how to improve your selling by watching other people do it, Gap Selling is for you. Gap Selling is where I take a real live salesperson. This is a real salesperson. This is not staged. These are not actors, but a real live salesperson. And they are going to try to find a problem that I have that they can solve or fix. Me or my company, a sales guy. If they do, I will buy. If they do not, they have to subject themselves to my coaching live here on LinkedIn, Facebook, and other places. So with that, we have the one and only Toni Vaughn. Toni, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm happy to have you here, sister. I'm happy to have you here. How's it going?
It's going really well.
Yeah.
Hanging in there with all the changes we got going on, but like everybody else.
All right, well, that's the right attitude. So are you going to sell me today?
Yeah, I think we'll see. What I like to do is learn a little bit more about your situation. I prefer to think of myself as a professional collaborator. So if it seems like it's a good fit, then we'll know after we chat for a little bit.
Oh, I like that. That's a good start. Okay, I'm just looking for the actual activity here so I can follow along in my own. Hey, I don't see it. Hey, where is everybody? It says live. Can you guys see me? I don't see it. Whoa. It says I should be live. And I can't even see if people are paying attention because I can't see. Let's see what happens here. Hopefully everybody can see this because it's supposed to be live and it says it's live. Hold on.
I don't know how to find it on my phone.
It should be under activity and I'm not seeing it. I am not seeing it. I don't even know what to do now. It says it's live. So I've never, ever in my entire life experienced this before.
Yeah, it says you're live on my side too.
Wait, you can see it or you can't see it?
Well, on the computer under Social Live, it says you are live. And it says live on the upper right-hand corner. But when I go under all activity on
all right. Well, someone found it. Brady found it. She says we're live. Thank you, Brady.
Okay.
Why I can't see it, to answer your questions, why you can't see it, Toni, I don't know. Maybe it'll show up in my activity here soon. I don't know what's going on, but thank you very much, Danielle. So we'll keep going. We will keep going. All right. So quick question. Have you seen past versions of these?
Yes.
Okay. Have you read Gap Selling?
No, I have not.
Okay. Do not blame me. Okay. So with that, you have waded into the deep end of the pool without a life jacket. So it's on you. So
I think we'll be okay. And I will tell you that if it helps you in any way, and I think I saw recently you had a post that you've got daughters, and it seems like they do skiing or they're into athletics and things like that. So you feel comfortable being tough on them, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I grew up as an athlete all my life. I've got a dad who was tough on me, and so I don't feel like you need to, no kid gloves. If I mess up, I can take it.
All right, beautiful. So take 30 seconds just to tell us sort of what it is you do so people have context, and then we can go from there.
Sounds good. So I am passionate about career development and basically life success for professionals. And I'm passionate about skill building. And like I said a minute ago, if anybody maybe missed it, but I consider myself to be a professional collaborator. And I feel like I have seen enough of your videos and these lives in the past, which I should say, by the way, these are fantastic. For anyone who wants to be a salesperson, really, these are tremendous amount of value. So I will say that. They're a tremendous amount of value. But what I basically do is I like to support and empower those people who are on their career path and help them contribute to the success of the business in a massive way.
Okay.
So like I said, I feel like I've had an opportunity to consume a lot of your content, and I feel like we're moving in the same direction in a lot of ways, but I don't want to assume anything. So I'd love to learn more about you and your business and see where I might be able to provide some value.
All right, there you go. Have at it.
Okay. So you mentioned that you had an online training, and so I was curious what the feedback you've been getting is around that.
Feedback's been great. It's been great. People absolutely love it. It's interactive, has choose your own journey. So as you go through and you answer questions or you do the exercises, you don't get the same BS. It's not the same experience for everybody. I mean, look, it's not full AI, but I mean, as you go through it, it takes you different places and gives you different answers, and it's a different experience. And people have said it feels like they're actually in the room with me and I'm actually talking to them. So I think that's a win. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that it's interactive because I'll be honest, I've sat through a lot of corporate trainings where they're very dry and you kind of doze off. And so it's good to hear that people are really feeling like they are interacting. So the other question I had for you is a lot of what you've been talking about is scaling and growing. And I know that you probably had to revise some of these business goals, but what are your growth objectives for next year? For next year, we want to double what we did last year. Okay. Now this year we're going to probably, I mean, look, we still got another quarter, but we're probably going to come in about, man, we'd like to stay flat. I like to be conservative. So we may come in maybe about worst case scenario, 30% from where we were last year, maybe as less as only 10%. We're ahead of where we were this time last year, but we had a really big fourth quarter last year. Sure. Okay. So where does the majority of the growth that you would like to have for next year, where do you see that coming from? It comes from training and it comes from consulting. Okay. So we have the Gap Selling book and we have Gap Selling training. We do that virtually. We do it live for corporations. We do it for individuals on the online, and we also do it for corporations on the online. Do you see that coming more from more clients, or do you see it maybe coming more from existing clients and you're selling them different things? Where does that fall? Okay, so with online, we see a huge portion of that coming from what we're calling B2C. So we know there are a whole bunch of salespeople out there where their sales organizations don't support them. And so because they don't support them, they have to go and find their own training or take their own development in their own hands. Yes, I wore a t-shirt that said bet on yourself. I should have wore it today. But anyways, and so they're out there trying to figure out ways to improve their own skills. And so we're launching a whole marketing campaign around that. We've invested heavily in a funny viral ad that's actually, we're going to see the final today. I'm pretty excited about that. That should launch all over the internet within the next 2 weeks. We're doing another one. We just signed a contract to do another one with their competitor to see which company could do it best. And so there's that whole piece for B2C. Then B2B, we're going to get new companies who either don't want to spend the time or don't want to bring people on site. And so they'll buy the online training for their organization. We structure it in a way so they actually can control when people see it, if they're finished with it, all of that type of stuff. And then finally, and then of course the consulting piece, right? I mean, we have a couple of big consulting gigs on the table right now. Organizations are struggling to how to pivot, what to do. And so it's across the board. Okay. So a little bit everywhere. Yes. What portion of I know that you talked about some B2C stuff, but more on the B2B side, what's the general cost range, if you feel comfortable sharing, do you end up finding for your B2B clients? So for the training aspect of it. So that really depends, right? So, if it's virtual or I don't have a problem with it. If virtual or in person, it's $799 employee or $15,000 minimum, whichever, right? And then on the virtual, it's not the virtual, the online, and that's a little less expensive. It depends. Go to Gap Selling Training, GapSellingOnlineTraining.com. It really depends because we have different corporate packages. So if it's for just a sales manager and he just wants his team, that's one price. If it's a medium-sized company who has a couple of managers and a vice president, another price. If it's an enterprise that has 40 plus people and you have VPs and directors and it just changes. So it can be anywhere from 3,000 up to 15, 20,000 for 40 people, and then $299 person after that. So it's all over the place.
Well, and I'm sorry I missed it because I did check out the website, so I must have just missed that area where you kind of dove into that. But
GapSellingOnlineTraining.com. I'm gonna let you off the hook here. We haven't tied that to our actual website yet. We're actually in the process of doing that right now. So if you go to salesguy.com, the online training isn't attached to that yet.
Got it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because that's where I went. So thanks.
Yep.
So you are getting great feedback. You are having a ton of client satisfaction. So what percentage of your consulting or your training revenue currently is from repeat business?
I'd say less than 20%, maybe. And it's hard to define repeat business. I mean, usually if there shouldn't be repeat business. I mean, we go in, we fix it. If we fucked it up, that means they're coming back, right? So, I mean, the repeat business we have is they hire more salespeople and they want the salespeople trained, that type of stuff. So I'd say, I don't know, 20, 30%. That's a good question. I should go dig in. I'd say 20 or 30% maybe. Okay. We have phenomenal customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
Absolutely love us.
I know, I get that. And just from watching a few of your lives, I understand why. Because there's a huge opportunity, I will say. Like, I don't claim to be the best salesperson in the world, but I definitely have worked with a lot of salespeople, and I certainly know that there's a lot of room to grow and a lot of area of opportunity. So I'm
okay. So I'm going to help. Okay. So Toni, I'm going to help you here. You are 7 minutes in to your discovery. And, and I'm not even sure what problem you're solving. So you're asking questions, which I give you credit. You actually asking them better than most people. But all your questions are focused on a future state and or a current state. But I don't understand what problem you're trying to find.
Yeah. So repeat business was what I was just about to drill down on, where when I say repeat business, I don't necessarily mean you're selling the same training to an existing client, because obviously, like you said, that would mean that you failed in some way or you didn't satisfy the need. But is there an opportunity, especially since you have such high reviews, and as business people, we know that it's a lot easier to sell to someone who knows, loves, and trusts you already. They already see the value in what you do. And is there a way to offer them to fill another need in a different way? The relationship is already there. You've already have an opportunity to build that trust with them. If you're looking to grow and scale, does it benefit you to add value to them in other ways?
So that was a self-diagnosis question. If you saw past videos, you totally just asked me to self-diagnose some potential future state or some opportunity, right? So the answer is almost always going to be yes to that, right? And so you really it doesn't help you find a problem, and it really, or the client could say no, and now what do you do, right? Like, no, I don't see that. Now what do you do? Well,
the next question that I was going to ask when you said 20 to 30% for repeat business was, what would you like to see that be?
Okay, so I'm perfectly okay with it for 20 to 30%. Because here's the deal. You're in this future state without a problem. And this is what happens to salespeople. So salespeople, listen and pay attention. When you start asking mostly future state questions, then you dig into this question that self-diagnosis is, well, do you think your business could benefit from it? And what would you like it to be? Without having it rooted in a problem, that's a really hard sell, because you haven't figured out, one, do I know that it's a problem? Two, am I doing something right now to fix the problem? Three, am I able to fix the problem without you and I've chosen not to? Like, all of these things in the current state are so critical. So the answer is, one of the ways that we would go after existing customers is to add new products. Right? So our ability to add the prospecting one, we've added the prospecting one. The ability to, they actually, believe it or not, adding the online has actually been able to sell to our existing clients because they can use it to reinforce the stuff. So it's really not, what we have right now is, when it comes to selling more to existing clients, we get most of it done before they're done being a client. So we don't really, it's not like we could raise our ASP. Let me phrase it. It's not that our ASP isn't high enough because we're not selling appropriately or we don't have anything to sell them. We're maximizing that for whatever it is they need. And then if we move away and come back, we add things on top. So I wouldn't necessarily say that we have a problem selling to existing customers, because there's really only so in consulting or selling, there's only so much we have to offer right now that we can sell them to solve their problems. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really see we have a problem with that.
Okay. Well, and then where I was going to go next is that what I gathered from your website is that you have your 4 pillars that you train on. And I wanted to understand a little bit more.
Consult on strategy, structure, people, process. That's consulting.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. So, so you consult on those areas. And so what I wanted to learn a little bit more about was the people aspect. So how do you consult on the people aspect?
So basically, I'll do the whole thing for you so you can understand how it works. So basically, when people bring us for consulting, something's going wrong. Revenue sliding in the right direction. They're flat. Their ASP is off. Their conversion rates are all met. Like something is happening inside the sales organization that is really causing substantial pain. They can't solve it, right? They have some type of problem that's manifesting itself in the outcomes of revenue, speed to revenue, et cetera, right? So what we do is when we go in, the first thing we look at is strategy. What is your current go-to-market strategy? Is it sound? Is it working? If not, then we fix it. If it is fantastic, then that's not the problem. Because we believe if you want to diagnose, here, freebie for all you sales leaders, CROs, CSOs. If you want to diagnose what's going wrong in your company, or you're not seeing things, or you're not going fast, not getting the results you want, simply break it down this way. First, look at your strategy. Is it working? Okay, what is the strategy? How are you going about it? Is it working? The strategy is working, fantastic, great, keep going. Then it's not a strategy issue. Then it could be a structure issue. Your structure does not support your strategy. So I think I can say this. We talked about it. One of my big clients, Zappy, they had a phenomenal strategy, had great people, but their structure was jacked up. And so we switched the structure and made massive improvements in the organization, accelerated revenue, and actually allowed them to get through COVID without sliding backwards. They moved ahead because their structure wasn't supporting the strategy. Then from there, we look at the people. Okay, strategy's great. Structure seems to work. What's not working? We look at the people. Do you have the right people in the right roles? Do you have, I'm making this up because everybody gets it, but do you have outbound, hunters in inside sales roles, and you in SDRs, you have inside SDRs trying to outbound stuff? Like, make sure, look at all your people. Do the people fit the roles? And then find the last one is processes. Do the processes and tools enable all the people in the roles to then execute on the structure to deliver on the strategy? So that's the people piece. We just assess, you got the right people in the right roles. Do you have the right roles, et cetera?
Got it. What do you hear from heads of sales or salespeople, or I should say, maybe from your experience, because I know you have a substantial amount of experience with salespeople. What do you find maybe outside of the pieces that you were talking about, the strategy, the structure? What do you find are some of the biggest inhibitors for them being able to be a good salesperson outside of the sales conversation or outside of those pieces?
Could you define outside of the sales situation?
Yeah, so when I looked on your website, you talk a little bit more about hard and soft skills. So I would think that would mean more of the soft skills. Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't pay much attention. We don't really offer much in the area of soft skills. All right, this will surprise some people. I don't think soft skills play that big of a role in the sale. They play a role, but if you lead more with credibility, knowledge and understanding, phenomenal active listening skills, which I guess is kind of a soft skill. Outside of that, I don't think they play that much of a role. I think they're grossly overestimated in the sale.
Okay. Maybe in the sale, but I guess to ask the question a different way, what you hear from maybe heads of sales I'll ask it in 2 different ways. So the first question I would ask is, you have a high level of satisfaction whenever you have you consult or you train, but there are still always people who end up, they don't implement it properly, or the feedback that you get from the head of sales, personnel, they're basically saying, yeah, we've had a few people who are having trouble implementing, but we think it's not your training, right? There are instances where right?
Yeah.
So they'll share with you, hey, your training was great. We definitely have some people who are having trouble implementing, but we think it's not you.
Yeah.
Do they share with you what they do think it is?
No.
From your experience, from your experience, what do you think it maybe prevents them from being good at their job?
The majority of the time, the reason organizations have a hard time implementing it is they don't commit to it all the way, and they don't get the managers and the leaders committed to it, and they don't follow the reinforcement strategies. Right now, there are a handful of people this is back of the napkin, I can't prove this, but about 20% of all salespeople aren't able to gap sell. It takes an inordinate amount of critical thinking, intellectual capacity, intelligence. I mean, you have to be bright. You have to have critical thinking. You have to go think on your feet. And if you're not, you can't do it otherwise. So, there have been, but normally has to go with the fact that they're just not
a good fit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Now you're at 15 minutes.
Okay.
So here's my question to you, right?
Sure.
I actually give you credit. Your what's the word I'm looking for? Your approach and I don't want this word, but I can't come up with another one, so I have to roll with it. Your demeanor to asking questions is actually pretty good, right? But your questions themselves, I'm not really sure where you're trying to go. So it feels like you're feeling around in the dark, right? So what's important in these types of things is to understand what problems you solve specifically, and then which ones do you think I have that you can start looking for, right? So think about this. So when you think about this, what if there are 3 problems you solve, because I'm going to show you how you can do this in minutes if there are any, that you solve that you think I might have, what would they be?
Well, I think that I think that it would be a problem if your repeat business, especially since your customer satisfaction is so high, 20 to 30%, I'll call it a problem, but another way of saying that is a huge opportunity to increase revenue, because that is, you said that.
Yeah. Okay, so you went there.
Yep. Revenue is a big goal for you. So, yeah.
So how could you okay, so let's just say that 20% is low for repeat business, right? I told you that the thing about repeat businesses is that once we fix someone's sales organization, they shouldn't be coming back to you unless they're coming for refreshers, or they have a complete turnover, or there's a trigger in the organization, right? So
or you've got something new for them.
Or I get something new, which I said, depending on the product, we keep creating new products. So if that was the case, you should have, okay, let's just go with 20 to 30% is low, however we want to define, let's say it's low. The root causes, everybody pay attention, I talk about root causes. What were some of the root causes? Which root cause do you fix? Are you going to help me build a new product?
Yeah.
So you build sales training products.
My focus is career development. So mine is getting the most out of the people, not necessarily the sales conversation, because that's what you do, and you do that really, really well. But if there are other ways to basically support the salesperson that doesn't necessarily have to do with the sales conversation, that would be a value add to your clients.
Okay, so now you'd have to get me to start thinking, do I want to expand beyond the sales realm? Right? And when you say to support the salespeople outside of the sales conversation, I'm not sure that's where I want to go. HR does that, coaching. Okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, I see that might not be an area that you would want to go out if it felt completely different, but if they go together, it seems to me like it could be a good fit. So that's why I was asking more questions about, what you hear from salespeople, or what you hear from heads of sales when, what is a way for them? What do they care about? They don't want to hire new people. They don't want to train new people 6 months from now when they just had somebody go through your amazing training. They want to lower turnover. Mm-hmm. They want to keep people in their job. And as we know, having great numbers is just a component to being a good salesperson. Mm-hmm. Having great numbers and being good on the metrics aspect of your job is only one aspect of your job. So if you can say to a person who's in a head of sales type role, hey, not only can we help you improve your sales conversations, but we can help you get the most out of your people every single day. Those to me go together.
Okay, there's a statement right there. Those to you go together.
Sure.
Right? You've got to find, like, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, just doing your job for you, right? Thinking about how I would take a product like this and move it into a head of sales and start talking about how I could help their team be more successful outside of the sales conversation. I'm not even sure I would do that. I'm not even sure they would care, because that's my job from a selling perspective to get them there. Once you start talking about, here's another way of looking at it. Once you get people to perform their jobs at a high level in their core function, taking it to the next level, that's HR's job. That's people development's job. That's so-and-so. And I'm not saying that it's not valuable. Don't get me wrong. You're just having a hard time convincing me that that's something that sales leaders would invest in on top of all that sales training, because it's going to be, like you said, outside of the sales conversations. Right now, I got to get people focused on sales conversations. I can't be adding other stuff. And oh, by the way, in the sales conversations, I want you to think about this too, and this too, and this too. That just seems like overload. But anybody listen, and you tell me, what do you guys think here? But I'm not.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the other question that I was going to ask you was, is that follow-up piece? Because I think you said that most of your relationships are maybe a few months, 6 months to up to a year. So is there an opportunity for someone?
You're asking me to self-diagnose.
Well, but I'm just saying, what I'm saying though is that someone follows up, right? Because you're going to do some follow-up anyway, or you could, and then you have the opportunity to ask them questions, to have them tell you what they're seeing. And anyone who's maybe not implementing, would it be an opportunity for them to go through some additional training? So maybe it's not something that the entire sales group.
The additional training they would want would be around what they learned, right? So I think as a prime example, guys, and look, this is actually, I'm going to double down on this. I was about to actually do just the opposite, but as I'm processing, I'm doubling down. And this is the hard part of your job, Toni. I think there may be something here, but the problem is you are unable to find a problem. And I can't see the problem, right? So what you do is you keep trying to sell to the opportunity. Do you think this? Do you think that? Do you think this? Do you think that? And of course, what happens when we do that is we start pressing, well, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Because the reason we're getting this, I think, I don't know, maybe, is because we're searching for a problem to attach it to. And without that problem to attach it to, even if it sounds intriguing, that sounds kind of cool, eventually once we're off the call and we move away, I'm going to forget about it because I haven't attached to a problem and there's nothing poking me, reminding me that this hurts and I should do that, right? So only a small percentage of people don't get the training. I mean, don't get it. I usually 15 to 20% on average. It's probably high. It's also said it was back of the napkin, so I can't prove it. Usually those people who don't get it, it's because they lack the critical thinking skills, right? So if you're lacking the critical thinking skills, it would be a long stretch, Toni, for you to convince me, you or even Anthony Robbins could give somebody critical thinking skills, right? So I'm not going to buy that. So when I told you that the reason they didn't get it was something that you couldn't fix, right? Those should have been some cues that maybe this isn't a good fit for me, right? Now to the other side, if you have this intuition that I'm missing something, your goal or objective is to start searching for problems to get me to say, oh yeah, that happens. And you're like, okay, the reason that happens is because. Oh, really? Now you're starting to weave it together for me. But in the absence of a problem, all of this future stuff, do you think there's an opportunity? Would you like more revenue? Do you think this? All that is absolutely true, but I can't close the synapses in my head that says hiring you is going to get me any of that.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense?
Yeah, no, of course. And I think the hard part is that for me, the problem is two things, and it just stems from my area of expertise. And like you said, it might just not be a good fit. And I completely understand that. Where for me, because I deal a lot with young professionals, and that the first decade of their young professionalism, it doesn't go smoothly. And if it goes really bad, they have, career scarring for life. and it just sends them down the wrong path. So in my world, when it comes to the importance of soft skills, there's a gap there, and it's a well-known gap. I mean, like high-level executives constantly say, 80% of them say we have a hard time finding the requisite soft skills to help people be successful in their role.
Okay, so what happened? Okay, so here you go. What happens when they can't find those requisite soft skills?
Yeah, they need someone.
No. What happens when they can't find them? Don't tell me what they need. What happens when they can't find them?
A bad hire.
Okay, just one?
Well, many bad hires.
Okay, how many bad hires?
I mean, it could be up to 60 or 70% of the time.
Okay, 60% of the time. And how much does the average hire cost them?
Yeah, at least 6 months of that person's salary.
Okay, based on young people, based on the average type of people you sell to, how much is that?
Yeah, I mean, that could be anywhere between $20,000 to $40,000.
Okay, times how many people?
I mean, for an individual company, I mean, that could be, I mean, it really varies, but I mean, it could be from one or two small, if you're a small business, all the way up to hundreds.
Okay, so roughly.
A year.
So, okay, roughly ballpark, what percentage of their overall hiring budget, their overall budget could that be?
Percentage of their hiring budget? I mean, yeah, it could be, I mean, it could be 50% or higher.
Okay, so if I'm a CEO and I have lots of young people that I'm turning over because they lack the requisite sales skills, I'll invest in fixing that.
Yeah.
I mean, ta-da! So if you're having a gap selling sales conversation with someone, you should be asking the questions I was asking you of them.
Right.
Do you have a large younger workforce? Do you struggle with finding the requisite skill sets? Do you find this leads to high turnover? What is the percentage of turnover? How does this affect this? What is the cost of this? How does it affect this? What about your recruiting costs? Blah, blah, blah. If I can solve that and reduce those, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I'll fix that. Get me off the fucking roller coaster of constant rehires. Like, that's a problem. That's how you gap sell. So knowing that, and here, this is why we got here. You started with what I do most is work with young people. You have to know what you sell, and you have to know the problems you solve. When we start trying to stretch ourselves outside of problems we solve, we don't know how to find those problems. We don't know how to find those problems. We can't sell to those problems. So what we do is, by default, we actually ask the customer to start doing it by questions like, do you think if? Would you like to? We're literally trying to get the customer to solve a problem that we haven't found and hopefully help us out, do our job, right? So I think you actually did from a gap selling perspective, you did a shitty job. But from a question, from just trying to engage me and try to understand what's going on high level, you did an okay job, right? Here's the funny part though. The biggest mistake you made was thinking that I was a customer.
Well, and I'll be honest about that, is that, like, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this interaction. And that was honestly my overall goal first. I'll be honest, like, I wasn't entirely sure if it was even going to be a good fit. However, I still do believe that a lot of sales organizations, that sales is an amazing place for young people to start. And so sales organizations that don't have these types of things in place, they will see a lot of turnover.
So why didn't you go there? No, right? I mean, I'm not a guy who stops turnover. Why didn't you go there?
Well, I was getting there.
No. If you can't get there in 15 minutes, you're never getting there. You're never
okay. Well, that was my fault. That too much prefacing. But really, when I started to ask you more questions about what's the cost to your average client, I was looking at it from an upsell and a value perspective, where because here's the deal, 60 to 70% of the time you can sell to an existing client more than you can sell to a person that's just off the street.
In general, but not in my business. See, again, people got to understand the business you're selling to, right? Look, rather than sell back to existing clients, we have more continual selling to current clients. Okay. Once the engagement ends, that means that we've done our job. Like, delivered all the training, your sales, we've watched all the metrics increase. I've restructured your sales team. We've gone after an entire new strategy. We've hired new people. Either the training's been done, or if it's consulting, I've been out there 3, 4, 5, 6 months. It's screwed up if I call back and, hey, I got something else to sell you because you're screwing up. I sell to problems. Oh, this is right. I didn't have a click. Watch this, guys. Upselling or selling to existing clients means you're finding a additional problems that they're having that they can get from new product sets. Well, because I'm in consulting people, my whole job is to solve all the fucking problems.
Right.
If I go out there and I don't solve all your problems, I keep coming back to sell you more shit later and later. What kind of consultant are we? What kind of company is a sales guy? And what kind of training is Gap selling? That being said, a year later, they get new people. We bring the training back out again, right? We'll create new products to address different aspects, and we're doing that now. So I'm not concerned about selling to existing clients because we're not doing something right. It's more just we're solving the problem. We do it so well, and two, we don't have new products. We exhaust the products we have. So that's why I said if you create new products, but the product you create, I don't want to get in that business.
That's okay. What about your referral business?
We could be better at that. I mean, our clients love us, and I don't think and that's largely my fault. I don't ask enough. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my fault. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, then I know we're going long here, but I could completely pivot. How old is your oldest child?
Oh, you want to get out to my kids now? That's good. That's good. I thought you were going to start there in the first place. My oldest kid is 15. She just turned 15 on Saturday.
All right.
What's today? Oh no, last Monday. Ooh, damn, time flies. Last Monday on the 14th.
Most kids have no real idea what they want to do at 15, but does she have any idea of what her direction might be? No.
Nope. And I told her she didn't have to.
And that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I told my kids, you don't even fucking worry about it. Don't even think about it. You've got all the time in the world. All you need to focus on right now is building the requisite core skill sets. Are you a hard worker? Do you have a passion for anything and do you follow it? Do you treat other people with respect? Like as long as you build a core foundation of hard work, drive, commitment, respect for other people, you'll put that to focus wherever you want. So I tell them don't even worry about it.
Yeah. Well, and I say too, the majority of young people, the advice that they get is so bad, and they start narrowing their options when really they should be broadening their options.
Yep.
So that's really great advice for her because it's a big problem. Young people and I say too, just get into get into something that you have interest in, and then you can start to make adjustments and pivots along the way. So.
See, well, you might not know this, but my kids all just opted to go to a full-time ski academy.
Yeah, I read that in your blog.
So to your point, they are doing something they're interested in, and they're 100% attached to it almost too much, 24 hours a day. So, I mean, they've got dry land training, trampoline work. The minute it snows, they're going to be on snow 6 days a week. So, again, wrong client, man. I'm not your typical parent. My kid's not sitting around playing freaking video games all day, wondering what they do with no friends. Yeah, no, my kids are a different breed. So, all right, well, look, it's helpful to you.
I was just going to say, if you get to the point, though, where, you want to help her with her career development, obviously that'd be a few years from now, but I'd be happy to help.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Stay tuned. Stay in touch. Was this helpful to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Beautiful. Everybody else watching, I hope it was. Guys, I didn't see as many questions on here today. One I do want to hit is Danny Kroger. Maybe tell a story of what you did for similar clients. Don't ever do that. Don't ever start telling stories what you did for similar clients unless you found the problem, they've agreed to the problem, and now you're trying to tell them how you solved that problem to build your credibility and how you can solve that problem for them. When you start telling stories, you're not gap selling. Go get the book, Danny. Come on, baby. Come on. So, all right. Well, listen, thank you, sister. I really appreciate it. You are the bomb.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you handled it well. All right. To everybody else, thank you for showing up. This was a good group. I didn't get as many questions in here. That's okay. Listen, if you want to gap sell me, text me. The text will be here. Oh, yeah, text right there. Text me right there. If you want to come and sell me your products, I'm desperate for someone to sell a sales guy or me a product. I want to buy something. I've spent a lot of money this year, and none of it happened because of salespeople. A couple of people got second meetings, and some of those are still going. But if you have a product or service that you think a sales guy consulting needs and or that you think I may need, then text me here, and we'll get you on Gap Selling. Because if you find a problem, I'll buy it. I will buy it. We will buy it. All right, folks, until next time, you know what I'm going to say. Thank you. Peace. I'm out.
All I hear, go get the money. So I go get it. Hate means I do something.